Okay, podcast number 1. I'm here with the Allergy Chef.
Hey there.
How are you doing?
I'm here with Jess, in case you don't know.
Yeah. I'm that one guy that wears the glasses. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing great. It was a nice drive up, and we had a great episode that we just filmed.
Yeah.
I got to try some of your delicious cupcakes and treats. I have never been so happy as far as trying allergy-friendly treats. They're just so good. And the thing is, you would never know that they're allergy-friendly. It just tastes like a great treat.
That's one of our goals.
And that's what made me happy. You taste the quality and all the good ingredients in your food, and I just cannot wait to see all the stuff you have in the future. It sounds like a true empire you're building.
A true empire. You heard it here first. We are building a food empire. That's the thing. It's like people with food allergies. Why can't we have something so awesome?
And that's one thing I like to do. Like, when I'm looking at whatever the standard is and I'm not happy with, I say, well, who says I can't? Really?
Right?
Who? And the question is no one.
That's it. We are only limited by ourselves, truthfully.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
I mean, you just got to put in the work, the research, the preparation, and when you do all that stuff, you can come up with magic, and people appreciate that and notice that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you've got going with your stuff. That's what was really cool about it. And you also have your books behind us.
We do. We have books. We've got cookbooks. No, put that back in. I actually really like it.
Okay.
In case you guys haven't seen, he created the most beautiful calendar and he gifted it to us. I'll show you my favorite picture. This is, let's see if I can find it again. This one. This is by far my favorite.
Oh, okay, good.
You know what it is? It's the eye. It's
Yeah,
Christmas. It's so well framed. You've got the wood framing here. It's the composition. It's beautiful. He makes calendars. They're really great. I actually really like them.
Oh,
so
thank you so much.
It'll be merch for like a few months. I'm always out there, so people don't forget. It's a great calendar.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. On my travels, it's kind of difficult because when you're traveling, I'm filming a documentary, I'm at high altitude, I'm carrying a heavy backpack, all my film equipment, trying to drink water, and take calendar at the same time.
Wow. That's a lot to do.
Yeah, so, when you're on one of these trips, it's a lot of work. But what's cool is, I was telling you earlier, is the people I went with, G Adventures, I told them I had a gluten allergy, and they catered from my flights to the tour to all the restaurants that we went to. They were all gluten-free. Everything was gluten-free food. That was wonderful about it, even on the flights. I mean, I've never... Yeah.
You just pegged on something so interesting. I was just reading this yesterday. Or today. Yesterday or today. But there's a new article out talking about how you can't be allergic to gluten.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because you use that word, allergic. And what's really fascinating is when you break it down by science, technically, you can't be allergic to gluten. Now, with celiac disease, one could argue it's a gluten allergy.
Yeah.
But what it is when you break it down by allergy, by the actual definitions, right? You can be allergic and have an anaphylaxis response. Throat closes up, you can't breathe, you die.
Yeah.
Okay? Usually, only in an extreme case does that happen with gluten, which is why technically it's considered an intolerance or something you can't process, but they usually don't use the word allergy, which is why celiac disease has its own name.
Yeah.
Celiac disease. But you can have a wheat allergy. So, for example, one of our kids is allergic to wheat, but we never tested him for celiac because we said, well, if he's allergic to wheat, it doesn't really matter. Can't have it anyway, so who cares? There was just no point in continuing that path.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting because you've got people. It feels like there's so many people out there right now trying to debunk the gluten issue that we deal with in this country.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point you're going to have so many international people watching that they're like, I don't get it. Because in other countries, it's not the same.
Yeah.
In fact, have you read about those people where they're allergic to wheat or they're celiac or they have a serious gluten sensitivity? They go to Europe, they accidentally eat something that they can't have, and they're fine.
Yeah, and apparently that has to do with a lot of the genetically modified way that they do it. They overly do it here, apparently. Like, they have this documentary on wheat, how it was the dwarf wheat, how they had to do it originally to feed people, which was a good cause, but then in the end they kind of made it very
Well, and now they do the
intolerable
thing
to
with
people.
the pre-harvest wheat, or whatever they call it, but basically they douse it with chemicals right before harvesting
Yeah.
to get the higher yield.
Yes,
So it's like,
yes.
you've already modified it at its genetic level. You honestly don't know what that's going to do to a human. Then you go and douse it with chemicals, but then you say it's safe to consume.
Well, basically, they're making us the human trial.
We are the largest human trial, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
But us, we're talking about
Yeah,
it.
we're right here.
We're
Yeah.
going to talk about it, yeah.
Well, because the experiment has gone wrong on us.
Yeah, absolutely, it's gone wrong.
Because with me, I had a lot of issues with wheat and gluten. From anxiety to irritable bowel syndrome to asthma, all of them disappeared within a few days. Actually, after eliminating it from my diet, probably within a week, I would say. And it's just very interesting how that works. I was blown away. That's why I'm kind of on this journey now. Because it changed my life. I was always had like brain fog. I just was always in a slump my whole life. Always a lot of anxiety, a lot of
So you
nervousness.
felt it your whole life?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So you went a lot. So how long have you been gluten-free?
I discovered around 27, and I'm 31 now. So around 4
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. So
Wow,
you
that's
know.
a long. We can relate so well because I was like that my whole life as well. I mean, to the point where, for me, I suffered from, I wouldn't say crippling depression, but I mean, if you asked me to jump off of a bridge, I would be like, okay. Like I mean, there's so many issues where it affects you from head to toe.
Yeah.
And when it's always like that your whole life, you just think that that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's normal.
And yeah,
This is my life.
That was our normal, But as it turns out, it's actually not.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Yeah.
the food.
It's a trick. Like, I mean, for me, it's so weird because, even now, where I have to eat food I'm allergic to, and they were like, well, eat or starve to death. And I was like, yeah, right, And you get to that point where you're like, oh, they weren't kidding. I really am going to starve to death. So when I feel certain things, it's like, I'm not supposed to feel that way. It's fascinating, like you say, how it really affects us all.
Yeah. Food, it has a huge impact. And what's interesting is, I've traveled to other countries, and what I've noticed, the quality of food is different there. Like you don't gain weight.
I hear that.
Yeah, when I was in Peru and Argentina, I would eat sweets, this,
Really?
that. I would eat carbs all day. I kept losing weight actually, and that could have been an elevation. Yes, it could have been a bunch of things. But what I found interesting was when I came back to the States and started eating, chain foods, whatever it could be. I noticed that a big difference. I felt bloated. I just felt bad. And I noticed, and that kind of scared me because it really says the quality of the food that we're having here is a lot different and a lot more processed.
I think it's the processed, the quality, and all the additives, and I mean, and let's be honest, they put a lot of sugar in that stuff,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because you've got so many different groups where, this group says it's because of all the sugar, and this group says it's because of all the fat, but the truth is they're both wrong. You can eat organic sugar and be fine. You can have grass-fed lard and be fine. The key is the quality and the processing. I mean, that's really the core issue here.
Yeah. And it's and another thing. It's just about balance too. If you just ate tons of pounds of sugar, that'd probably be bad too. But it's if you just have a normal amount, and
well, and I think too. Okay, so this goes back to processing. If you're on a clean diet, and I'm sure you've realized this as well, it's easier just to say I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I've had enough. I'm done. Whereas when you eat chemicals and it's processed, it actually messes with your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
So it kind of almost forces you to look.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we have no time.
Okay, and it's recording now?
Yeah, because I kept remembering that when you do 4K for some reason, this stupid thing, I don't know why Samsung, you need to fix you need to get it together. You only have a 10-minute limit, and that might be because the battery heats up too much. But,
that's probably.
But if you take it off of 4K...
You don't want your phone to explode.
No. You know what's funny about that? What was the model was? I should know this because...
Was it the Note?
Yes, because every plane I went on, they made an announcement in every language.
Really?
Yeah, so they would say, if you have the Galaxy Note, please see the attendant right away, because you can't fly with those. They would kick you off the plane, or they would make you not use the phone on the plane.
That is intense.
Yeah, so
I'd heard about that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was interesting about the phones. But yeah, so now we're on unlimited time, and it's interesting, how many chemicals are in food, but the difference in other countries. That's another thing because
Oh yeah. Definitely.
they're harvesting a lot of their food probably from when you're going on a Peru, it's just farmland and farmland. There's just no commercial stuff like there is here,
Yeah.
and they're just farming it like by hand, the old-fashioned way. And
Well, and in
you know,
Europe, they've banned, in a lot of countries,
Oh,
they've
yeah.
banned genetically modified stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yet we allow it here. I mean,
Yeah.
It makes you realize it's really about the almighty dollar. It's aggravating.
Yeah.
Because they're basically saying profits are more important than people. And I'm all for capitalism, really. I am. I think people should be allowed to start a business
Yeah.
and make their money. But can't we do it without hurting so many people?
Yeah, and that's the problem because there's always going to be someone who doesn't care, or maybe they're sociopaths. I don't know. There's a bunch of reasons.
And the crazy
why.
thing is like, I think to a certain degree, I think companies like Monsanto, with some of their products, honestly think they're doing us a favor.
Yeah. Well,
Like, in their twisted way of thinking, they think they're helping us. Like, we're going to increase the yield while still making sure that farmers can't even save their seed and that they always have to come back to us to buy everything. Oh, and we're going to spray it with a ton of chemicals, but we increase the yield. And so it's like, it's so misguided.
It's very, and what's interesting is people that grow their own corn, for example, the GMO corn or the Monsanto corn releases pollen and it pollinates the other people's corn, and then Monsanto will go and sue them for stealing their patent.
Yeah.
Which
I think
you
there
can't
was
win.
I think a farmer in the past year or so actually won his case.
Good.
And then another farmer sued his neighbor farmer because his GMO stuff came onto his land. He said, "You basically ruined my crop and this and that." And I don't recall the outcome, but I know there are rules about how you're supposed to have a certain amount of bumper crop if you're growing the genetically modified stuff. But at this point, I'm kind of like, can't we just get rid of it? Because did you hear about the GMO wheat? They had done a trial back in the 90s, and that wheat has been found in the wild growing.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a small trial, so it wasn't supposed to get anywhere. It was supposed to be safe. But that's the thing, you can't tame nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to all that stuff we're talking about. Just money.
Yeah.
Profit.
Money.
Corporations. I mean, corporations can be great, but sometimes they can be evil. And but let's talk about some general allergies. So, like, how did you learn that? How did you find your path in this whole game?
I'd say the short answer is the short answer. If you were to barely touch me, I was in so much excruciating pain. I weighed close to about 450 pounds, and I was barely eating. So the inflammation response was off the charts. I'd always had allergies as a child. Environmental. I couldn't have eggs without feeling like I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
I couldn't drink milk really. There were just certain things that were always there. But as a teenager, I went on a trip and basically had they didn't call them seizures, but it was as if you were having a seizure for about 24 hours straight, just constantly seizing. I was on a plane, and it was cool, sort of, because they were ready to actually make an emergency landing. So they had me on oxygen on the plane, and I got moved to first class. Then I fell asleep. But
they got those good seats.
Yeah, I got the good seats, and then and then we landed, and they had EMS on standby. And it was like, this big thing. And so they kept drilling. They were asking me again and again, what did you do? What did you do? And I was just like, I ate this meal. I had dental surgery. And so I couldn't really eat much. So at the end of the trip, they had this dish. It was like a soft pasta. It was very creamy. So wheat and dairy, okay? And I eat it. And I ate like 3 bowls a week, so I was starving. And after that, the seizures basically started up. And they were like, well, we're going to do a brain scan, and a heart scan, and a this scan, and a that scan. They never ran a food allergy panel. The whole time they kept asking, what did you do? I ate the food and then it started. Okay, so mind you, that was a teenager, right? It was another 10 years before I was actually diagnosed.
You know what's interesting about the inflammation you're talking about? You know, I would hold up to like, it sounds great, like over 10 pounds of fluid sometimes, or inflammation, like, but back then, before I knew I was gluten intolerant, I would, I think the first real diet that I went on was I would just drink protein shakes, no food, no nothing.
Okay.
And for the first time ever, I was like, oh wow, like, you know, but within the first few days, I just lost all this weight, and it was all just water weight.
Yeah.
And so I was just retaining a lot of fluid just from all the wheat I was ingesting. So, and you know, even now, like, you know, sometimes, you know, people get gluten and stuff, but not, you know, you'll retain a lot of fluid.
Yeah.
You know,
for me, weight gain is one of the first symptoms.
Yeah, me too. Weight gain is a big one. Pun intended, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Now you've lost a lot of weight, right?
Yeah. You know, my highest was recently. I was probably around 230 pounds.
Okay, so I had you almost double. I was almost twice.
Yeah, well, and so you've come leaps and bounds, you know. So
I have actually.
And all from just eliminating.
Yeah.
Those
Well,
things.
I mean, there was a point where I was down to like half an avocado a day because no matter what I ate, my throat would swell up. Like I was doing bad.
Oh my God.
So I got good at starving, I guess. You know, and even now it's like I don't really eat a ton. You know, and it's just because everything hurts. It has to. You know, it hurts to the point where it's like.
Not worth it.
Like, do you want to feel this, or hunger? Pick one. And some days it's like, you know what, I'll just go hungry. It's not worth it.
That's how you know when it's bad.
Yeah, well, and plus it's like, when you get used to it, after a while it's like, when the hunger hits, you're like, okay, if I just like give it 10 minutes, it'll be gone. And you wait your 10 minutes, you're like, okay, cool, I can eat. You know, and you go about your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know.
Yeah, you know, and I've been experimenting with water fasting the past couple years.
That's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
I was reading how it's immune system regenerative. It's a new therapy coming out. Okay, so you know about it.
Oh, yeah.
I actually totally want to do it, but because of my water problem, it's like...
What water problem?
Well, I can't really drink water either. So, like, I can't turn on the tap. I can't... It's an
Fluoride?
No, it's everything. So we even have, like, a big Berkey, which filters out everything.
Yeah, that's what I have, the Berkey.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
No.
Yeah, no. So we actually get water imported. But if I drink too much, it's like getting water poisoning all the time, so it kind of makes you pass out a little bit. So I get anywhere between 10, like right now I'm in the like 20 range, getting about 20 ounces a day. But to do the proper full-blown, you know, regenerative therapy, you're supposed to be getting like 100 ounces a day.
Well, you know, the way I do it, and everyone's different.
Yeah.
But you're only supposed to, from what I've understood, you're only supposed to drink water when you're hungry, and it's not even too much. It's usually just, you're kind of just sipping throughout the day.
Okay.
You know, and so basically, the longest I've done, I have a vlog on this. I went 11 days.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so.
I gotta hear this. This is good.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience because I most people would just try and jump into it, but I worked my body to that point. I would start like 1 day a week.
All right.
Then eventually 2 days a week, then 3, then 5.
Such discipline.
Yeah, it's
that's intense.
Yeah, so then you're like, oh, I'm ready to try a 5-day, and then eventually after 5, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for the whole thing.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's kind of a crazy experience because when you're doing this, you're looking around everyone else just smiling and going about their day. You're like, you have no idea what I'm going through right now.
Right?
I mean, you feel so isolated from the world because, it seems like more than half of life is the pleasure of food and thinking about food, planning food, going out to eat food, drinking sugary drinks, whatever it could be, But, when you do that, you're kind of isolated. So you don't really want to be around people as much, especially because they're going out to eat all the time. It's always about eating at some point. Oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat a snack, or And so when you're water fasting, you're a little more isolated, and when you hang out, you kind of tell them, oh, I can't eat, but if you want to eat, go ahead, And at a certain point, you accept. It's one of those things you accept. You're on the water fast. You're not just going to grab something and eat it. So people can eat. Eventually, people could eat in front of me, and it was okay.
Yeah.
But I would be like, can I smell your food really quick? So even not to sound too weird, but let me just give that a smell.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you go through the days, and like the first 3 days are fine, and then I think day 8 and day 5 and day 8 were difficult for some reason.
Okay.
With energy because you're just sipping water. you get, and people think when you're on a water fast you're hungry the whole time. You're not.
No, you're not.
You're not at all.
Definitely
Not at all.
No.
I actually have more energy on a water fast.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't go run up hills because then you're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
But as far as just every day, just moving around, you just have this energy about you. Because the thing is, when you're on a water fast, a lot of what drains people's energy or what takes a lot of energy is digestion.
Yes.
If you think about it, we're digesting our whole lives. We
All
never
the
actually,
time.
we never get a break from digestion. All the
Yeah.
time, there's always food. So when you're doing this, your digestion is clean, and you're repairing yourself from the inside. And your body is meant to do that.
So how did you feel the detoxing then?
Yes. Like, it's weird because when you pee, sometimes it'll be really yellow, and then sometimes it'll be normal.
Yeah.
And that's part of the detox.
Yeah.
And you get this thing, and your tongue starts to turn white for whatever reason on the water fast.
Yeah.
And then
that's another sign.
the detoxification. Then as you go through it more, it starts to turn pink again. It starts to go down your tongue and turn normal again. And you'll have extra body odor, like your armpits will smell more. You're just like, what's going on here? Like, this never happens, and I eat crap all the time before, But when you're detoxing, it has all those type of weird things, and
So you made 11 days.
And I found out later that I'm more. I can't have too much sugar because I would break fast with watermelon because it's very easy for the body to process.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I started eating all this sugar, and I'm like, oh, I'm so bloated already. What's going on here? Like this, I don't feel that good actually.
I have the same problem with watermelon.
Yeah.
Anything sugary. It's like it messes with me a lot.
Yeah. So basically, I found that the way to do it is just steamed vegetables, like steamed zucchini and some broccoli.
What about soup though?
Yeah, soups are good too. Like usually I'll do like a broth. Like you make the chicken broth and you boil
Have you
the
ever done
vegetables.
like bone broth before?
A little bit. I need to do a lot more of it.
Oh my goodness.
I need to get into that.
Bison bone broth. Check out.
I love bison.
Check out NorthstarBison.com.
NorthstarBison.
They sell like grass-fed, canned meats and bison, and you can get really cool stuff. Shipping's a little pricey, but it's a quality product. They now sell the broth that they make, but it's way cheaper if you just buy the bones and do it yourself.
Yeah.
But really cool. The kids love it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, you guys like drinking broth, and they just sip it like tea.
Yeah, I love because they sell the bison hamburger now. At, Lucky to say, but I love that stuff. I'll buy it. It tastes so much better than beef. It's so much richer.
Really?
Yeah, it has that slight gaminess.
Please tell me more.
Yeah. So they have stricter regulations where they can't give them all these chemicals too. So it's healthier in that sense too.
Yeah.
Because bison, I don't know the reason, but they have different regulations. But yeah, the meat, it just tastes better. It just tastes richer, very rich.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like the way I describe it, it's like you're eating like an expensive steak but in hamburger form.
That's weird because I've never really eaten much beef my entire life. I've had a few burgers, but I can't eat beef. And so it's like, and I've had bison, but I don't love it. So.
How did you cook it? Was it a steak or a hamburger?
I think I've done it both ways actually. Because like sometimes we grind our own meat with our KitchenAid. You have like an attachment so you can make your own meat.
I need to get one.
Oh, it's really cool. We do ground salmon. We grind anything.
Okay.
Yeah, and the kids, that's like one of their favorite. Can I do it? And you get to drop it in.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But I've done it where you can broil it. I've done it on the stovetop. I don't, in a weird way, sometimes I just don't like chewing. I don't like.
The chore is like.
Yeah, it's like, I'd rather just have something simpler.
Like what?
It's just like some squash. Just something so simple.
More water-based.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
So, like with your water allergy, like, do vegetables mess? If you have like a lot of vegetables, they're mostly
so
water.
Pretty much, if you can imagine the state of California, right? Like we're here
in
San Francisco. Anything south of us, for the most part, I generally can't tolerate because of the water. The more north it is, the better. There's a place called Pepe. Have you heard of them? Okay. You can get their items on Good Eggs and at Rainbow and then at farmers markets. I do really well with their farm. So it's not just the water, it's the farming practices. And then we get water from me brought in from Maine. They have the only exemption to not add anything to the water. So when you buy spring water, it's actually been cleaned and processed. This place just sells you like straight spring water.
Wow.
So that's the key difference. I even once drove up to Mount Shasta just to get water from the spring, and it made me sick. We were like, wow.
Oh no.
Yeah. So, like, any kind of bottled water, we've tried it all, and it's not related to the corn allergy. It's just me. Like, there's certain parts where, sometimes people ask me for help with certain things. It's like, I can tell you this, but I don't actually know if it's corn or if it's something else, because with my disease, I'm essentially a great mimicker. I mimic a lot of other illnesses. I come really close to like having certain diseases, but I'll miss like one marker, so it's not that. But I have all the symptoms. For example, Job's disease. Very interesting, weird disease.
What's that?
Okay, so Job, it's named after Job from the Bible, and just all of the different ailments. But the one ailment that I don't have is like boils all over my skin. So that's one of the key markers.
I'm happy you don't have that. That would be horrible.
That'd be kind of bad, right? So I just, there's different things, but at the end of the day, for me, it boils down to histamine. Boils down.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Boils down to, the histamine issue, the food allergies, and probably a combination of a couple other things. And when you mix it all together, you end up mimicking most other diseases.
So you're like the X-Men that can mimic all the other X-Men
powers,
except bad powers.
It's like I can mimic cancer, I can mimic lupus, I can mimic Lyme, you name it, I'll mimic it. So,
wow.
Yeah. I guess that's my superpower.
Yeah, your superpower.
Woo! Yeah. Just put a big M on my chest. Like a mimicker. Which, it's only appropriate that that's my disease, because as a child, they called me the tape recorder. Because, again, I have this really good memory, and so anything people would say, I could tell you conversations for, days. And, Carlton loves this. He goes, gosh, she can tell you something we had a conversation about like 6 months ago. And I can quote things verbatim.
So you like have a photogenetic memory, but with conversation?
No, I have basically an untrained photogenic memory with everything.
Oh, wow.
With image, with taste, smell, hearing.
So you must be good with movies. Do you remember movie lines?
Oh yeah, I hate watching movies more than once though.
Why? They get boring?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, now I'm at the stage where I don't even really watch movies. I just fast forward through them. I just watch a couple of clips and I'm good.
It's weird. I used to be into them when I was younger, but as I get older, I get into them less.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's just an hour. I guess I've been more sucked into the shows now that they have, because it's like a continuous movie for 10 hours.
Yeah.
And maybe being conditioned with watching that type of stuff. Now when I see it's like, and then they're going to rush it all into 2 hours,
it's funny. I feel like I'm the opposite. I hate those long shows. I'm like, this would be a great movie. This is a terrible TV show. Because for me, so a couple years ago, they were like, you're going to be dead in 30 days. And I was like, okay, great, because I'm kind of tired of living like this anyway. And in that moment, you realize, I don't want to waste my time with things that bore me.
Yeah. And
at that time, I actually became a very honest, outspoken person. Not that I was a liar, but,
you sugarcoat
I was a people pleaser, I was a sugarcoater. I got to the point where I was like, you know what, you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the truth. There's no point in hiding at this point. Like, what do I care, right?
Yeah.
And so now, and that's really when it started, where I would just start fast forwarding through stuff, because it was like, I'm not going to waste my time watching a stupid movie. It's like, is it even decent? Captain Phillips. Have you seen Captain Phillips?
That's a good one.
That was the first movie I sat through in like years.
Really? Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I'll watch something for a few minutes, and if it doesn't pull me in, I'll kind of start to jump through it, and I'll go, move on. But Captain Phillips, I watched that one.
That was a good one.
Was really good.
And there was this funny meme. It's like it had Tom Hanks in all his movies. Like, make sure you never go on vacation with this guy.
Right.
he always gets in such deep trouble wherever he goes.
Vacations, yeah. Do not vacation with him. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Since this is your first podcast, you should start a thing where you give really great life advice, and each one matches this one.
All right.
So this podcast advice is, don't vacation with Tom Hanks.
Yes. You're in for a bumpy ride. So with the mask, when did that start? You probably had this a million times.
Okay.
I'm probably sure.
So
how did that come about?
I started with, what happens is with your more severe allergy cases, or if you have other conditions making it worse, which I do, as your body gets clean, it gets really good at knowing when something bad happens, right? Yeah. And so your reaction time actually speeds up, and sometimes the intensity can speed up. So what would happen was, Like if someone came over the house, I'd have these massive headaches with them being around them. Or like my tongue starts to swell up and I'm just like, I'm in pain from people just being, 5 feet away. And so, it started with leaving the house and just, the fumes in the air. It was like, I would leave the house and I'd just feel sick all the time.
Is it people's like perfumes and colognes and just body odors?
So it's not body odor based. It's, laundry detergent, hair products, any sort of perfume, cologne. And then of course, if you have things in your home that are excessively fumy that you're just naturally covered in, there's that as well. So there's the fume issue from people. There's fumes from cars, and then of course there's corn and gasoline. So it's like breathing. For me, I am aerosol allergic and contact allergic. So cooking food would always make me so sick for the kids. And so that's where the first mask came from. It was actually a lot smaller, and it was 4 layers. There was like an organic bamboo, triple layer, and then another filter, a carbon filter on the outside. But it wasn't a closed circuit, so air could still technically come in.
Oh.
And then to catch a breath, you were constantly just to get a little bit of
I know what you mean, yeah.
And so I was exhausted from wearing it. I was sick without it. And this actually existed, but back in the day it was really expensive. It was like $700. And we were like, that's too much money. And we never knew how good it could be. Until finally, the Maker Fair. Are you familiar with the Maker Fair? San Mateo?
No.
Okay. Well, we went there to display our cupcakes when we launched last year. And we knew that the other mask would not hold up. I literally be dead. Worst case, like in some cases, I've actually been paralyzed on the kitchen floor, can't move, and they literally have to drag me out because of the fumes from cooking food. So at that point, we were like, okay, mask is on all the time.
Yeah.
And so we bought this to test it out because we said, well, if we can't find a closed circuit, we can't go to the Maker Fair. So this is actually a closed circuit. It's really cool. Air goes in, gets filtered on the fly, and then there's these 2 little things in here. Can you see that? Where when I breathe, you see those things?
Yeah.
So that opens up when I breathe in, and then it closes. And then as soon as I breathe out, it all comes out here. It's like if you put your hand here, it's like weird because it's warm and you can feel it.
Does it ever get steamed up?
On the outside, yes, but not on the inside.
Okay.
Like if I cook, like if we're draining pasta, it'll.
Yeah.
Like with someone's glasses, like it'll do that, but then it clears up. Raining is interesting because you have to go like this.
You're on windshield.
Yeah, you need like a windshield wiper. You can't really turn your head as much because this bumps into your shoulder. So it's really difficult to drive with it on. So there's that issue, and sometimes we have to like roll down the window or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I keep a smaller one in the car, but it's not as effective.
Your travel one.
Yeah. And then there's it's painful. People think like, oh, you can just sit there and it's not a big deal. No, let me tell you, this hurts. And you can't go out in the sun with it. Learn that the hard way.
Does it melt your face or
It kind of does, actually, not gonna lie. First off, so my skin does actually react to the rubber seal. So it's really painful to wear like right after a shower when our skin is really clean.
Yeah.
Because once it touches me, it actually burns.
Oh.
So you have a burning sensation for like the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
And then you kind of like, you try to forget that the burning is there. And then after you wear it for a long time, it just hurts because it's a constant pressure.
Yeah.
It has to keep the seal, or therefore it's defeating the purpose.
Just anything pressing on you, even like glasses, it hurts your nose. Things
exactly.
like that.
So could you imagine if the whole thing was your face, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, so take your fingers like this, okay? Now press on your jaw in a really weird way, kind of like here, or flip your hand over this way. Kind of squeeze your jaw, but open your mouth. Now squeeze real hard on both sides. Good. Now that's the mask holding itself in place. You can't actually close your mouth while you're inside of it. So your mouth is always open. It's kind of weird because it's stuck in like a lockjaw position almost. I mean, you can close your mouth, but then it's kind of weird. It just makes it harder. And then across your forehead, there's just this constant pressure pain.
Probably gives you headaches sometimes, right?
It's not a headache. It's like a physical frontal head pain. Because to me, like a headache is more like in your brain. Versus this is like on the surface, so it's like skin pain. And then if you go out in the sun, this is great. We didn't know this. It'll like literally burn a line into your face.
Like.
I laugh now. It's not funny, but it really is. But it's not.
It is now that it's over.
Yeah, now that it's over and my face is recovered, it's funny now. But we took the kids to Disneyland because Disney said that it would be safe there. And it actually wasn't, so I had to drive home like all night to get back home. But at the park itself, it was a hot day.
Yeah.
So I'm all covered up, right? Because we can't get fumes on me. I have gloves on, so I can't touch anything. I'm in a little wheelchair thing because we knew I'd be exhausted just from having to be in, all this. Because you can't eat and you can't drink. You can't take it off once it goes on.
Yeah.
So, by the end of, I'm so hot, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, right? I take off the mask, and the rubber seal, it's about this thick.
Yeah.
There's a permanent line burned into my forehead.
Of the material?
Like where it was,
Yeah.
And then, like, if you were just to barely touch it, it was like excruciating.
Oh no.
So, after a couple hours, you have to try to take it off, just to kind of relax a little bit. So it is not a joy to wear this. In fact, somebody, I was so offended one day, like, kind of offended, but not offended. They really meant well, but they were like, so, what do you think? You like wearing a mask? I'm like, really? That is the worst question I've ever heard in my life. Yes, I love being stared at. I love being pointed at. I love being, like, insulted to my face and having people, like, say stuff under their breath. I love this.
It's a godsend.
No, yeah. But, the funny thing is it is in the sense of without it, I can't.
Yeah, it is and it isn't.
It is, so it's like, it comes with a price.
Yes.
It definitely comes with a price.
Wow, that's crazy.
You want one? I can get you one for Christmas.
We'll
I should hand them out as Christmas presents, like Merry Christmas, right?
We'll do special shows we'll have a special show with Mom.
I was telling Carlton, it'd be really good. I said, we'll know we've made it in about 5 years.
Yeah, but it has your signature, the Allergy Chef right there.
Yeah, right? I said, kids will want to be the Allergy Chef for Halloween, and they'll want a mask just like this. And I'm like, watch, that's what happens. And we're like, we should get 3 of them that customize the colors. And then one of our friends said, hey, I can spray paint it for you. And we were like, that's a great idea. And then we kind of went, wait, no, that's probably a bad idea.
Bring in the spray paint.
Yeah, probably shouldn't chemicalize the mask I have to wear. So yeah, but and then we've learned that you can't change filters on the fly. We tried that, and that made me really sick. Because for me, just brief exposure will start the reaction process, and it lasts for hours.
So how? And you said you have safe zones. I think you said in your house.
Yeah, so our house is like a safe zone unless someone's here, which is why I have this on.
I ruined it.
You kind of did. It's okay. As soon as you're gone, I'll leave the kitchen and then I can take this off.
Open all the windows.
Yeah,
Actually, that probably won't help.
We don't open the windows because you heard neighbors cars.
Yeah.
When he turns his car, we all shout, "Close the windows!" Just in case anything's open, Yeah. Because it's really bad.
Yeah.
So the house is a safe zone. If we cook, we have doors that we can close if we want, and then we've got the window, we've got the mask, we've got the fan. And then the heater goes off because the way the heater works in the house, we turn that off.
You must really just appreciate that time when you have it off, right?
Oh yeah.
Imagine.
It's funny though, so for example, you've never seen my face, right? And for me,
I've seen the outline of your face.
Yeah. Well, for me, I forget sometimes it's like a face issue because somebody that we've known for a long time, we've only ever talked to them outside of the house. And so he came over last week, dropped something off. And I happened to be in the kitchen, and he's got a lot of food allergies. I was like, hey, I've got a cookie for you. Can you eat this and this and this? And he stops, and he stares, and he's like, I've never seen your face. And we all cracked up, because I was like,
oh yeah,
you're right. You've never seen my face, And people who always see me in the mask, and haven't seen me for a long time, will come over and be like, that's what you look like.
I guess the best thing is Skype.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
That actually would be a good way.
Yeah, except I'm not into the whole digital spying network, so I don't really.
Oh, the government.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of the digital stuff.
They're spying. Well, they probably really are, but.
They actually are, so I just don't.
They probably don't care, but they are.
Yeah. So I don't do too much of that.
Well,
this is my face for now.
Yeah. I mean, so you don't just put a picture of you just smiling
No, I'm not a really big. Because when you grow up really fat, you're not photogenic.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So when you're really fat, you're like, no, thank you. And so even now, I'm like, no, I'm not still good pictures.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But see, you're not fat anymore.
I still feel fat though.
PHAT fat. You're cool.
Yeah, you're funny. It's that fat kid mentality. When that's all you've known, you just kind of all right. So you probably never had this because you weren't that heavy. But
I used to be pretty big.
yeah, but 230, that's not.
Well, I used to be shorter and bigger too when I was younger, before I lost weight. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So when you're pushing 450, you worry about things like chairs. Like, can I sit in that chair?
Yeah.
So even now, I'm like, I sit down cautiously. I mean, I've always sat down cautious. So it's like, there's traits.
It's ingrained in your brain.
Yeah, there's like little things where you always think about it. And then you sit down and you kind of go, oh, okay. But if somebody touches the chair, like, oh no, it's going to break.
we just gotta have like a day where you just sit in chairs all day and just like it's normal.
Yeah,
day,
like,
normal,
I should just normalize.
Yeah,
myself.
like small steps, and then you'll just break free. Then you just go in chair. Ah.
Yeah. No, see, I would never do that. I'd never do the flop down thing. God, oh no.
That's what I'm talking. Baby steps.
We'll
start a normal one, then it's a little flop, and then progress.
Yeah, now I'm good. Cautious sitting. You never know.
Or just get steel chairs. All steel chairs.
No, those can bend.
Titanium?
I don't know. I would.
Rocks?
You get paranoid, you know?
I'd imagine so.
Yeah, you really do. You know, and then of course clothes, you know.
Oh,
I never
clothes.
shop for clothes. I still don't. And even when I do, it's funny because I'm so used to things being so loose and baggy, so I still like things loose and baggy, but it's hard figuring out, you know, what size do you buy and how do you wear that?
Yeah, I mean with me, like when I was, getting pretty big, like all my clothes, like I used to be in like a 36.
That's all?
Yeah.
I was like 58.
No, when I got small, but then I got big again.
Okay.
And then it's like, you used to just sit buttoning, and you're just like, oh, what happened?
Well, that's a trip.
What happened?
Okay.
And then I'd be like, I would just start wearing basketball shorts everywhere.
That's what I did too. Yeah. And sweatpants. Anything elastic, right?
Yes.
But as a child, I was offended by elastic. Like, I don't want to be the fat person who always has to wear elastic.
Yeah.
I was like, that was all there was. I just wore elastic.
Yeah, and just extra large shirts, all the big sizes. And,
yeah.
And it sucks, because sometimes the big sizes aren't big enough still. You're like, oh my god.
Right.
Like I'm trying to hide it, but it's
You're
not
like,
working.
I'm a 4X. Oh my goodness. Like, and you just want to like scream at yourself, like, no.
Yeah. You're at the store and the biggest size is not big. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
What do I do? I have an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, you should.
Yeah. Not to be offensive to anyone that's fat, but I feel like as someone who was fat, like I could write the book.
Oh, but it's like you can't really. If you've been there, you can't really say, "Oh, you don't." Well, I was that, so I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, I was there. So
yeah, I earned my badge of being fat.
Yeah, I did.
My fat badge.
I earned the fat badge. It's right here. I earned it.
Yeah, and at my lowest, I was like 155 pounds, and now I was just. But see, I think gluten was a problem for me earlier in life, but it manifested more mentally, like anxiety and things like that. But at a certain age, like after 18 or 19, that was when like I just started feeling really bad.
Okay.
Like it started to hit me even worse at a certain point in my life, at a certain age, because they say sometimes these things can hit you harder at a certain age.
Well, and they're also stress related too.
Yeah. It was probably some stress at the time too.
Yeah.
And that was when it became like, oh, I just can't handle this. This is bad. Like something really, it's worse than I've ever felt it.
Wow.
Because you're used to eating every meal and just feeling bloated.
Don't you hate that when you get used to feeling sick?
Yeah, like even tying your shoes, you're breathing extra heavy to try and bend down, 'cause your stomach's just extra bloated and fat, and you're just trying to just barely get your shoe, and even doing simple tasks, even showers, like you're trying to do this and that, you're just like just being bloated all the time, even and I was just used to that. So, you get bloated.
Did you ever get it in your hands too?
No, but I would retain water. Like I wouldn't use the bathroom the whole day. And I would just be like, just absorb everything. It was crazy. Like it would be like 10 to 15 pound difference.
Oh.
Like I could fluctuate.
Yeah, I know. For me, it's like I can gain 3 pounds in a day.
Yeah.
From eating like one meal. People don't realize.
Me too.
It's a big deal. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
It really is.
And another thing that's interesting about wheat is, this is what I've heard is, in restaurants apparently, when you're eating wheat, it makes you want to keep eating. So that's why they serve you bread first.
Well,
because it gets you ready to start eating.
In our society, the way wheat is grown, I'm sure if you went to a different country, like one of those European countries, you wouldn't feel that way.
Well, I'm excited 'cause next year I'll be filming my travel series and gluten-free series in Europe, so I'm
Really?
going to be trying it all out.
Oh, that's so cool!
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch that.
It's going to be awesome.
I cannot. I'm actually looking forward to that. I've always wanted to travel the world. So I watch travel documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries about a lot of things, but I love the travel ones because it's like I really want to go there. So I feel like I can put myself there and be like, that's so cool, and just it's so cool.
Well, you know what's even better now is the goggles you can wear. You can see the 360 degree virtual reality, the VR headsets. Okay. Those are cool because when you put those on, you're there. Literally, you look up, down, you see the whole spectrum.
I should probably try that.
Yeah, they have them. My buddy who actually went with me to Peru has a camera that filmed a lot of it in that quality. So we're walking on the trail. You can look any direction. You see exactly where we're, what we're doing.
That is so
like
cool.
On top of a mountain, walking a trail. It's interesting, those type of cameras, because it has two lenses that are like kind of fisheye, so it gets everything.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting. So yeah, next year I'll be doing.
Okay, make sure you go down the big slide.
A big slide?
There's a big. Have you heard about that big slide in Europe?
No.
Okay,
no.
I saw it in a travel documentary. I cannot for the life of me remember what country it's in. I think it's like in Sweden or Norway or Nordic blockish.
Yeah.
Huge giant slide, like huge, like an adults go down, and it's like down the side of a hill.
Yeah.
And then near it, there's supposed to be like one of these world-class chocolate shops. Yeah, so
after your slide, you get some nice chocolate.
Yeah, definitely make sure you eat your way through Europe.
Oh, I am,
and enjoy it all.
And interestingly enough, as bad as McDonald's is, and in a lot of other countries, they have gluten-free at McDonald's.
Yeah. In other countries, they have better quality McDonald's than they have here.
Yeah, and apparently the reason for that is over here, I guess the normal regulations, they're too small, the kitchen, so they can't do that for cross-contamination reasons, I guess. But in Europe, the kitchens are bigger, so they can have more dedicated areas.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so then you'll see the burger just says gluten. Well, it's usually in German, gluten-free, or however they say it. And it's interesting. Like, oh, I did not know they did that. That is very interesting.
As you travel, you should definitely. There's a few apps that are out now that are really popular for gluten-free. I feel like you could definitely make a splash and let people know this was good, this was good, this was good.
Yeah.
I hear in like the Nordic bloc, it's very gluten-free friendly.
Yeah.
Some countries are better than others.
Yeah.
I could foresee you having problems in places like Paris.
Well, apparently they're pretty. Well, a lot of Europe, they're actually better than us at gluten-free. Yeah. Apparently they are a lot ahead of the game. Like they have a lot more dedicated bakeries. They have a lot more stores. According to Instagram.
Okay.
According to all the Instagrammers all over the.
For citing your store.
Yes. Yeah. So according to all you awesome people in Europe, you're posting so much gluten-free stuff. Yeah, especially in Germany. Germany seems to be very gluten-free friendly.
Yeah, but see, certain cuisines by default are just gluten-free friendly.
Yes.
Like Indian food is pretty gluten-free friendly.
Yes.
By default. Even like, south of the border, like maybe like taco and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's technically gluten-free friendly.
Yeah, except if you have the corn issue, then.
Don't leave your house if you have a corn issue. If you have a corn issue, write me a letter. I'll send you an email with all this info, and I'll, tell you where to get a mask But
the whole deal.
The whole deal. You'll get the whole red carpet treatment, and you can have a line on your face too. We can be stared at together in public.
The line tribe.
The line tribe.
So we've been podcasting for half an hour probably.
Yeah. More. So do you think you'll break this up into segments, or are we gonna just like
going for it?
Right. People get to see us as we really are.
Yeah, and I think that's the best form, just a free speaking, because a lot of times it's okay to have talking points. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt, but maybe in the future just have a couple, but just go off any direction.
Yeah.
Because then it's fun. It's not just we're here to talk. That's what we have radio shows for.
I'm a wing it kind of a personality. I love winging it.
Well, that's why this is perfect.
Yeah, Carlton's always trying to get me to write a script. I'm like, no, let's just wing it. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I make speeches, like my grandma's 80th party or weddings, I don't plan it. Everyone's sweating. I'm just like, give me the mic. Let's do this. I've had a cup of wine. Let's go.
Yeah.
I just the way I do it, just speak from the heart, and usually it flows out pretty good.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
Be honest.
It's a great way to do it.
Yeah. That's my recipe for speaking.
recipe for success.
Yeah, do my best.
Hard work from the heart.
Yeah,
Can't go wrong.
Indeed.
It's like your calendar. It was hard work and from the heart.
Yeah, well, I didn't have as much time to spend on it. Usually I spend more time, but I'm walking. It's like, oh, I have time for. Okay, gotta keep going.
Now, do you find you take a lot of photos? Are you the type where you spray and pray, or do you plan and execute?
I just take and go. I don't even look at them.
Okay.
Yeah, because that takes too much. I mean, I kind of have, I guess, my own eye for it. It's like, oh, that looks good. Boom, boom, and then keep going because I don't have time to look and do all that stuff. Usually, I just want to keep going. And it makes it fun later when you're done at night. You're just like, ooh, what did I get? Like, ooh, look at this gem, and that gem, and that gem.
Okay.
So it's like a little reward after.
All right.
So this is podcast number 1 with the Allergy Chef. So this is one of the most special podcasts ever because it is the first one, and the Allergy Chef
that is
is
really
awesome.
special, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget the tip. Don't vacation with Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Yes.
Never.
Okay, that's got to be your thing, though. Now you have to keep it going.
Or at least on our podcast.
Oh.
Because for all you guys know, we might start our own podcast series too, right?
Yeah, there you go.
With the Allergy Chef, talking about awesomeness.
And gluten-free back to basics. This guy's really awesome.
Oh, thank you. I've been at it for around 2 years. So, maybe more. I don't remember. I have a bad memory with numbers for some reason. It's just not my strength. But, yeah.
Okay.
What a way to end it. I'm like, oh.
He's a little confused. Okay, let's end it on a happier note. Go eat cupcakes.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so the Gluten-Free Chef, the Gluten-FreeChef.com.
No, I'm not the gluten. I'm the allergy.
I mean, yeah, sorry. I was mixing this up.
That's all right. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah.
That was the hybrid.
If we were to merge, we'd call ourselves
Yes.
Gluten-Free Chef.
Okay. The allergychef.com. Also, she has these awesome books for her recipes and.
Yep. And we've got our blog. We've got our bakery. You can find us at foodandlego.com, theallergychef.com, freeandfriendlyfoods.com. We are out to help you no matter what your problems are, or even if you don't have food allergies and you just want really good food, we are so here for you.
They are. And for me, Gluten-Free Back to Basics on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, Gluten-Free Back to Basics. Just type it in Google. You'll find me. I promise. So from us, have a wonderful day, dear friends. Keep it gluten-free, keep it healthy, as healthy as you can, and have a good day.
Goodbye. This is fun.
See you later. Oh, that was awesome.
That was great.